Hey folks, Brian Prasad here. I'm really excited to be here. Our special guests today are Dror from Elad and Ryan from Private Service Realty. We are talking about one of my most favorite projects of last year, and phase 3 is going to be coming out. I'm really excited to talk about this project because the building that they're coming out with is going to be the gateway for the entire community. It's going to be the most in-demand building of it, and it's coming out as third phase. We're going to be able to give you special access right now. Dror, please tell us, why is Galleria such a special development?
Galleria is a master plan community, 20-acre master plan community in Toronto, close to the core, about 10 minutes drive from downtown Toronto. We are building a master plan community, and that's kind of what we specialize in, allows us as a developer to invest a lot of amenities and infrastructure in the development. As opposed to a single tower, we're able to build things like 95,000 square feet community center. It will be state of the art with amenities like pools and gyms and daycares. And we're able to develop an 8-acre park with different attributes and different areas within that park. We're able to build 300,000 square feet of retail, which will have your everyday retail amenities like the grocery and the pharmacy, lifestyle retail like restaurants, cafes, fitness, things that clients are interested in, especially in this area. I think that's the thing that really set apart a master plan community.
Yeah, so Ryan, from your experience incorporating all of these elements with retail, with community center space, with residential, how is Elad doing it different from other master plan communities that allow this to be a real winner?
I'm glad you asked that. Building a master plan community, undertaking the vision, requires someone to really champion it. It requires input from the community, from the local councilors, from the city, from a various amount of stakeholders like the architects and the interior designers, obviously the developers, sales, agents, buyers. And to take that on really requires a lot of dedication and a lot of willingness to really make something special, where currently, there is a product missing that to fill that void. And so Elad is kind of the champion behind this community. And in my mind, when you're building a master plan community, there's a few critical elements that you have to have. Number one, the residential density. With about 3,000 units, making it the home for 6,000 to 8,000 people by the time it's all said and done. That means that Galleria on the Park is a community that is self-sufficient. It can thrive with its own residents. Secondly is the retail. We have 300,000 square foot of retail and office in the community that's really 21st century retail. And that's really important to understand because retail has gone through a pretty significant evolution in the last decade and a half. And you want the spaces designed based on current consumer needs. But that is a critical element because you want goods and services within the community, grocery stores, pharmacists, banks, that's all in there. And by the way, Brian, the services that are in that community today will be operational throughout the entire course of construction. So at any point, if you're in the first building or if you're in the last building and anything in between, if you want to go downstairs and buy your groceries or do your everyday banking or go to the pharmacy, those anchor tenants will be in place every step of the community.
Yeah.
From there, we have the community center, 95,000 square feet, as Dror mentioned, state of the art, one of the largest community centers in the city. It replaces an old community center, and it's almost 3 times the size of the existing community center. So massive boost into the community there. From there, we have an 8-acre park. That's 360,000 square foot park right at the bottom of your building. And if we've learned something in a COVID era, and hopefully soon to be the post-COVID era, is that people want to be around outdoor space, and Galleria on the Park has another essential element, which is geographical location. It's a downtown Toronto site. Granted, it's not the downtown core, but it's really well positioned. We're 5 kilometers from the financial district, the city centers. Tons of employment all around us. And finally, we're on transit. We're on 2 major bus routes. We're a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Bloor subway station. And if we go east of the site on the Spadina station, And on the other side of the site, on the west side of the site, the Up Express. So we're really well connected from a transit perspective as well. So I think when you're bringing all of those elements together, all of a sudden you've created a really harmonious, well thought offering.
Yeah.
And now it's just about delivering on the vision, and that's where a lot steps in.
Yeah, I really see it. I mean, especially around here, Trinity Bellwoods Park is really crowded. Why? Because there's not enough green space.
Right. And they're not making any more.
They're not making any more. And always the houses that are facing onto the street they have such a premium in value compared to the houses off the side. So we're actually creating a park that's going to be much better than Trinity Bellwoods because we're going to have more amenities. Like in the winter, you'll be able to use it. We'll have skating rinks. You guys are planning on designing and everything else. How is the park going to be able to be used year-round? Tell us a little bit more about the park itself.
Yes, so the park itself is designed by a master landscape architect.
Yeah.
They've designed it from the get-go together with the city, keeping in mind obviously the seasons we have here in Toronto.
Yeah.
We're going to have spring, summer, fall use or grass and areas where you can play with a ball or walk or do your things. And then in the winter, whatever can be converted into, like you said, an ice skate path to play some shinny or to just interact with people in the winter. Very, very important. What Ryan was saying, we see how important it is now to have outdoor space on all seasons, especially when we're dealing with today's environment.
Yeah, some other buildings, they have like outdoor festivals in the winters, like Christmas markets. I totally see similarities of what's happening in other areas there. So you've put these elements there for it. And the retail, tell us a little bit more about the retail and how everything is going to be designed, because I know a lot of other master plan communities, like everything was kind of set when it was all finished. It was only maybe 10, 15 years after people started really enjoying it, but you have a different plan for what you're doing over here.
Yeah, so our approach to retail, since we're heavy into the income-producing properties, we understand how a good retailer can thrive. Yes. Retailers need a few fundamentals, which are the physical aspects or attributes of the space, but also visibility, wide streets, and to be able to draw clients or customers from all around for a bigger radius. The existing mall, even though an older mall, still drives really good numbers as it relates to the everyday amenities. I'm talking about the grocery store, the pharmacy, the pet store, the gym. And these fundamental amenities, everyday amenities, are going to sustain, to Ryan's point, throughout the development. Right now, they are in a smaller, confined, standalone mall. And as we phase the development, we will start moving those tenants and fill up the rest of the space with other tenants. We call them more lifestyle tenants. Yeah. So it allows for a healthy mix of retail offerings. You don't want just grocery and pharmacy. You also want that cool cafe on the corner. You want a fun restaurant. People here are, this is a neighborhood where we see a lot of younger families moving in, people that maybe have a bit more attention to the quality of the coffee or the restaurants. We have Geary Avenue here, which has developed in the last little while with, restaurants like Parallel and Brooklyn Pizza and a great ice cream and Dark Horse Coffee. And all those things are going to flow and continue to develop in Galleria. That's the vision. We hired consultants throughout, brokers and consultants. We're in constant communication with tenants to understand what they need in order to thrive. We understand it's not just about the covenant and the dollar, but it's also about the actual offering and how you feel. And if you, one of the main attributes of this particular building is that it's going to sit on a pedestrian muse. Yeah. So it's a pedestrian-only walk-through from the corner of the site all the way to the central core and to the park. That area is mimicking, we took that idea or concept from the Italian piazzas and the European cities where they have it figured out for years of how an animated street level or ground level environment really works. And that's how we designed it, and that's the hope that it will evolve into that thriving, happy, happening everyday life.
I see other places that have this level of retail, like Shops at Don Mills, 300,000 square feet. The place that's only popular is around that public square area where they mixed in the seating area with the little park that they have. So you saw that, and you saw what their tenants were asking for, the retail tenants, and you designed something that would be vibrant at all the spots to really create that destination point that people want to be. So not only you were saying it's going to be self-sustaining, but it's going to want to attract people there from outside the area, just want to hang out. And from my experience, that leads to really good price appreciation in real estate because you're making a destination point. And right, you did a lot of research on this, master plan communities that are designed well versus standalone buildings and the price growth that we see. I mean, tell us a little bit about that and what investors could expect when they're coming into here.
So I think there's actually a huge shift right now in buyers' behavior. It's happening right in front of my eyes. I don't have to tell you, you're at the front line and you see it every day. It's really dynamic what buyers are looking for right now. And we're seeing more and more buyers looking for more thought through, well-planned master communities. And the reason for that, when you buy in a standalone building in a given area, that building has very little impact on what's going on around it. When you're buying in a master plan community, the developer, the vision is dictated way up front, and you know exactly what to expect. And when the entire community is ready and has, all the residents have moved into it, there's real pride of ownership, not only in your building, but the entire community. The community becomes a destination, as you've mentioned. People are coming into the park, which intrinsically is tied to how the retail is performing, how the restaurants are doing, and people are going into the community center, and community centers in every community are always the life, and the heartbeat of those communities because they are a central congregating spot. So you're really seeing a lot of life at the ground level of these communities. So I would say we've tracked and we've created a correlation, or we've documented a correlation between the increase of value over time from buildings that are in a master plan community versus buildings in the same geographical area, but ones that are not a part of those master plan communities. And master plan communities have been constantly outperforming standalone buildings in the same neighborhood, and that's because when you buy in a standalone building, you bought in that building, and that is it. When you buy in a master plan community, you've bought somewhere where there's millions, tens of millions of dollars going in, both from the private sector and from the government sector, going into infrastructure development. And when you're investing alongside, much bigger companies that are pouring millions of dollars into infrastructure, you just know that your investment will outperform the market in general. Now, during COVID, we also found something interesting in many of the master plan communities in Toronto is that even at this kind of odd time that we're experiencing in the market, master plan communities are seeing their velocity of sales rebound quicker than other buildings within those neighborhoods.
Because of life, people want to be there.
Because people want to be very centrally located. So we're seeing those communities are first to recover as well, which is great. Gives the investor and the end users a remarkable amount of peace of mind, knowing that they live in an area that is truly sought after, almost irrelevant of how the market performs. Right, and that's something that I'm really attracted to when you're kind of peeling the layers off of the offering. That's something that I'm really spending a lot of time and effort looking into.
And sure, I mean, this area right now that we're in is really underserved by housing right now. Basement apartments, believe it or not, are getting $1,500–$1,600 a month in rent. I mean, what is Alad's vision for kind of this area, how it's going to be developed, and what's going to be happening in the next couple of years to satisfy this demand, and how long is it going to all play out? How long is it going to take?
I guess it's a good question. The way we look at our master plans, our investments, is a long-term relationship with the neighborhoods we come into. This neighborhood has a lot of history, rich history, established residents that are coming here, and of different ethnicities. And what we're seeing is that there's new blood flowing into this area. So young professionals, young families, are starting to flow into this area and injecting a lot of money, and they're demanding better retail, they're demanding better services or more up-to-date services. They're just used to, they're coming from the core maybe, they're coming from outside, from their parents' basements.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of research before we go into a development and into an area, because it's such a long-term investment and a relationship for us. And we identified this area as one that will boom and thrive. I think we were very right on the money.
Yeah, there's nothing else out there. This is the only game in town. In this area.
There's not a lot of game in town here. But I can tell you that DuPont is going to look different in the next 10 years. There's a lot of developments. They're not as large and as meaningful as Galleria on the Park, but they're coming, and they're going to change the color of this street. They're going to add more life, more retail, more offering, more walkability. All those things are very positive. You know, it's not a one development type of game. There's multiple developers that understand that this is the next area that's going to explode in the city. Galleria is, you know, a large community. It's probably the largest in this area, one of the largest in the city. And I think it's just gonna set the tone for all the rest to follow and make tremendous change to this particular area.
Yeah.
I think you asked about timing. I think, you know, this is the 3rd out of 8 buildings. So we have a little bit more runway to go. I think this is a very great opportunity to get in now, getting early before all the price appreciation is coming in, before there's influx of renters and investors that are coming in here. And that's it. We have a lot of
broken ground.
Broken ground. The first phase again shows our commitment, and the city's commitment too, for this project. Usually, you know, you don't get to be fortunate and start your construction on a phase less than a year after you started sales. So it's a very strong vote of confidence from the developer, vote of confidence from the clients, from the buyers, because they voted in, right? They bought, and I think we'll see the tremendous demand in the next phase. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, as well. So Ryan, when we were working phase 1, the demand was incredible. I mean, what was the number one thing people are always asking? When is the one closest to the street coming out? Because they wanted that one. I mean, how many orders did you get for phase 1 and 2? Do you remember?
All I remember is that there was a point in the process where myself, Jor, Krista from Elad, Kim and Graham, we were in a room looking at each other, and we just said, we don't need to look at any more worksheets. We got to a point where we just knew like every single unit in the building could sell multiple times over. Yeah. And at that point, it was really more about working with the agents that we work with closely to make sure that we put the right people in the right units.
Yeah.
But you know, when you set out and take something, a project like this on at this magnitude, you really don't know how it's going to be received. You do your best, you hope for the best.
Yeah.
But really to get that affirmation from the market,
yeah,
that to say like, you guys really hit a nerve here, like this was needed. To get that feedback from the market was invaluable to us, and gave us a lot of confidence and a huge boost as far as how we and anyone that comes in contact with Galleria on the Park feels about the community and the impact that it has.
Yeah, I was finding most of the purchasers were people from the area because they knew it, they saw it, they saw the vision of it, and they were all asking for this one. I mean, we know that when 8 buildings are coming up, each building increase the pricing a bit, and especially the way I look at it is this: when the 6th and 7th and 8th building comes up, sales center is probably going to be over there. People are going to be driving by, and they're going to see a finished park, a finished community center. I expect that you will be charging a lot more for those buildings that are not in as good of a location as this one coming up. Yeah. Would that be fair to say?
It's really the evolution on a few levels. It's the evolution of the market. It's the evolution of the community.
Yeah.
And I always tell the early adapters in the master plan community, the ones that buy in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th building, you're actually completely aligned with where you want values to go as the developer, right? The developer wants to see prices continue to rise because they still have thousands of units to bring into the neighborhood.
Yes.
And for those buyers that come in with some future phases to go, you're really at the same point of the developer. You and the developer both want to see prices continue to grow because you both have a stake.
And you're in control of it because you're developing the whole master plan.
We control, and it's one way I look at it is that we're protecting our former buyers in the earlier stages with every stage that comes, with every phase that comes. So it's very important for us to make sure that when we promise to you that value is here, then we support that message and that vision, and as much as we can, we can't control the whole market, but as we control our own design, building unit sizes, etc., that's kind of our trajectory. So.
Yeah, the way I look at it is that you're curating it. You're bringing in really good retail. You're bringing in best landscape architect to design the park and everything to create that value. There. You're actually putting a lot of thought. Why is Elad the right builder for this? We specialize in master plan communities. That's what we've done for years now. We have obviously a very large income producing portfolio, so we understand retail and income assets and investments in real estate for many, many years. We've been in Canada for over 20 years. We have a large backing international group behind us. We have local expertise. The whole company's been here for a long time in the game, in the business. And we use top-notch consultants from the architect all the way to our sales team. Everyone here is because they earn the position to work as a winning team, make right by our buyers, and just deliver on a great product. It's very important to understand that because this is a multi-phase development, every phase has to be better than the one before. Because we have a long future with this development, and it's very important that we deliver an excellent product, deliver and fulfill all of our statements to our buyers, because the first buyers are going to be maybe buying in phase 4 or phase 5. We always see that growth even within our existing buyer pool, and we want to continue delivering great product for this community. We love this city and believe in it. One of the things that we knew is that, and I dealt with it personally, is people for phase 1 and 2, they said they submitted my order, I never heard back from the builder, the unit was sold. What would be your suggestion for people to ensure that they could get the unit they want here?
So it's a great question. I mean, when you're fortunate enough to have a project that's in really high demand, you want to create an equitable opportunity for buyers to come in and get their units, but unfortunately you're working with a finite amount of units.
Yes, exactly.
It's just that basic supply and demand. So, relationships do matter. There are agents who have been loyal to us, who have been done well by us and by their buyers over time, and we really appreciate and would like to reward those relationships whenever we have an opportunity to do that. So for buyers within your network who may be interested, I would say communicate that to you really early on. So that you could communicate that back to us. And when we're starting to kind of put all the pieces together, it's like a massive puzzle. When we're starting to put all the pieces together, we know kind of what you're after and what your clients are looking for. And it's easier for us to proactively plan that in advance. A lot of the times where buyers don't end up with exactly what they want, or sometimes with nothing at all, is when they don't actually communicate to their agents their willingness or their level of interest early enough in the process. And by the time they do, it's already too late. So my key takeaway would be, if you're interested, please make sure to connect with Brian, let him know, get educated about the community. Don't buy because of the herd mentality or because there's a rush. Buy because you understand this is a real value proposition that's tangible, easy to understand, has a few different elements to it, and ticks off a lot of boxes. And just communicate that to Brian really early on.
Sure. Ryan, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're busy coordinating this big project that we're doing. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Folks, if you are interested, register below. We'll be able to take care of you. Take care. Thanks so much.